From Second Stage Theater, see the new play from the writer NPR calls one of the hottest playwrights in America, with Kate Bornstein, Josh Charles, Ty Defoe, Armie Hammer, and Paul Schneider. See Straight White Men on Broadway for 10 weeks only. Visit 2st.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Julia's Trucking Cafe. Today, we'd like to welcome Bryan. Hey, Bryan, I see that you got your cup of coffee. Are you ready to sit down and have a little chat today in the Trucker Cafe?
Good morning, Julia. Sure, why not?
So, I understand that you were in the military. Can you tell us a little bit about your military background?
Sure. Back in 1992, I joined the Marine Corps. When I was in the Marine Corps, I learned how to be a generator mechanic, diesel generator mechanic, learning all about diesel engines, and I did that for about 15 years. In the time, I learned how to work on all types of diesel engines, including all the types of diesel engines that were in trucks. Also, at the same time, I learned how to pretty much drive anything that has 4 wheels, 10 wheels, 8 wheels, and track.
Well, that sounds pretty cool.
So, after I got out of the Marine Corps, I went into the Army for another 7 years, did the same thing as I did in the Marine Corps, just in the Army uniform is the only difference was. In that time frame, I was sent over to Iraq twice, and they taught me how to drive even more equipment over there. Probably the first time I got to see the brand new international 18-wheelers were over there, and that are on the roads now. They were over there back in the early 2000s, and they were testing them out over there. So,
okay. And to let everybody know how you and I met is that we have a mutual friend that will remain nameless, and then found out that you also drove a truck, and then you and I started chatting over the years, and we've known each other, what, about 2-3 years now?
About 2.5 years now, I'd say.
Yeah. So after your military and you came back to the States and you got out of the military, what made you get into trucking, and why did you prefer over the road versus local?
Well, originally, when I got out of the military, I was trying to become a diesel mechanic. And the problem with becoming a diesel mechanic is I didn't have tech school that these young kids coming out of school nowadays have, so they didn't want me to pay me what they were paying them. So I started looking around for different career fields, and I talked to a few veteran friends that I know and some friends that are just in the trucking industry, and they told me, well, try out being a truck driver. It's, for the most part, same type of lifestyle as the military. You just got to do your job, and most companies, the people leave you alone, let you do your job, and you just keep on moving and make pretty good money at it. So I figured I'd give it a try, and that was 3 years ago, and here it is 3 years later. I am still on the road driving a truck.
So while you're out on the road driving, what are some of the bad habits you see cars do as well as other semi-truck drivers do?
Well, one of the biggest thing I see the four-wheel cars doing that really is real dangerous is I'll see a car go from the left lane, cut off into the exit in the right lane.
Right.
I see that happen all the time, and that right there, you're cutting off 3-4 lanes of traffic will always cause an accident.
Correct.
As far as truck drivers, some of the things truck drivers do is they won't leave enough stopping distance during bad weather. When it's raining out, snowing out, you need to give a little bit more room.
More following distance?
More following distance. These trucks don't stop on a dime. All these drivers out there should know. Also, I see four-wheelers the drivers that do leave some room, they will, a car will jump right in that spot, making it the distance cut down for that truck driver if he has to hit his brakes. So that right there is very dangerous in all aspects. That's why we have a lot of pile up, a lot of people that have a lot of accidents out here on the road nowadays.
Right. Now, I remember it from driving school, and there again, like on the last episode, I mentioned it was 30 years ago, and also we're having to learn the Smith system with defensive driving, and we had to have a minimum following distance of at least 6 to 15 seconds. Well, that's 2 or 3 or 4 car lengths. And when you're in Philadelphia traffic like I was this morning, they like to cram in and take that space. But we're taught by the instructors, well, back off some more. Pretty soon you're doing 10 miles an hour because everybody's piling up in front of you. And then you're creating a hazard. You're creating a traffic jam because you're in rush hour traffic. And everybody's wanting to exit, or plow in front of you, and to me, it's like they can't see this 13-foot, 6-inch tall rig with headlights on behind them, and I don't understand it. It's like, hello, I'm right here. What would you change?
I agree.
Go ahead.
One thing I would change would be that people need to be more courteous, plain and simple. You're out there with, if you're driving a truck, you got an 80,000 pounds there. You can crush a car in a heartbeat.
You're right. Yes, you can.
Be a little courteous. It's not that hard to be a little bit courteous. If you're in a four-wheeler, think before you react. These trucks can't stop on a dime. They stop. It takes a lot longer distance to stop for them than it takes for you to stop.
And I get the question, too, from a lot of people with friends and relatives of mine that they don't know much about trucking. How come one truck can go 70, 80 miles an hour and another truck can only do maybe 60, 65, and they get out of the left lane in front of me, and all I want to do is pass them and get around them because they're so slow? And I explained to them that we are governed. We have a speed limiter on the truck. Some of the companies, it depends upon the company, can only do 62. Some do 65. Mine does 68. And when you step out into that left lane and you're another truck driver, don't come riding up my tail and gonna push me like you're gonna push me out of the way. Give me some room to do my maneuver, and don't cut me off when you're done passing me to get back over to right lane. Don't take my hood off. Don't take my mirrors off. Give me some room. Give me a half a truck length before you cut back over in front of me. If I give you the headlights, flash your four ways. You don't have to flash your clearance lights. Flash your four ways a couple of times, telling me thank you. Nobody knows. Like, you're right. Nobody has any common courtesy out here anymore, and that's pretty sad. Now, where do you normally run to?
I normally run in the east, on the East Coast. Company I work for is based out of St. Louis, Missouri, and we basically run all over the country, but we go from St. Louis to wherever, back to St. Louis, out to wherever, and I am considered over the road, OTR. I travel all the United States.
Okay.
This week I'm on the East Coast. 2 weeks ago I was on the West Coast. So it just depends on what they have the freight at.
Okay. And when you're out on the West Coast, do you ever find yourself that you have to chain? You have to chain up?
My company does not want us to chain up. If we have to chain up, we are to chain up just to get through the section that is required to be chained up. Then we are to pull off to a truck stop or something. We are not. They don't want us chained up. They prefer us. They would rather have the freight wait than their truck, their driver, to be on the side of the road, flipped over, or the driver's dead. They would rather have that truckload of freight late, and okay, we'll pay a fine for it being late, but we still have our truck, we still have our trailer, we still have our driver.
Okay. And what are some of your favorite trucking apps for your phone or your laptop, or if you have a tablet or anything? What are some of your favorites?
My absolute favorite one is called Trucker's Pass. what that is, it actually has all the truck stops, rest areas, weight stations, cap scales,
traffic too.
Yes, traffic. They have pretty much everything, hotels, everything you need for trucking. They even, the bad thing about it is it does show you how full the parking lot at the truck stop or rest area is. However, the bad part about it is it's left up to individuals to put whether it's full, partway, empty, and that is, with that you get sometimes you get false readings. It's telling you the lot is full when it really isn't, or it's empty when it's really full. So that part of it you got to really be careful about. But as far as the rest of it, I absolutely love it.
Now the way stations I find too is that you get some false readings, but there's a way to go back into the history, back 2, 3, 4 hours, even back all the way to the beginning of the day, and see if the scale was opening, closing, or was it open just for breakfast and then they shut down at lunch, or something like that.
Correct. It does have history in there.
Yeah.
Another app I do like, and it's actually 3 different apps. It's the Pilot, Love, and our TA Petro app, because that is a good way to keep track of your points at each of them. You can go in there. It will tell you how many showers you have earned with them, how many free drink refills, how many points you have. In the Loves app, it tells you what level you're at, and they're good to keep track of your reward points with the fuel and your fuel stuff.
Right, and now Loves will go ahead and you can build up your classification from basic to platinum to diamond to, I believe there's another one, and then TA, you're just a platinum. That took quite a while. Loves, after your platinum status, you get unlimited showers, or diamond status, you get unlimited showers, you get unlimited drink refills, and you just swipe it like after you do your fuel card, and that's how you add up your points. And there's a lot of times when I had a low paycheck and I ended up eating off the points, whether it be Pilot, Flying J, or Loves, because there again, working for a company and it's bad weather and you only get one trip in, you're only going to get a couple $100 for a paycheck. The trucking industry ebbs and flows with the weather, with loads, miles, this kind of thing.
Yes, that's correct.
I'm going to throw a question out there that you may not be prepared for. Do you think there's a trucking shortage?
I really don't think there is. I think there is a shortage of qualified drivers because the reason I think that is there's a bunch of companies constantly saying they don't have enough drivers to cover loads, but all of a sudden you always hear I can't find a job as a truck driver. Well, if you can't find a job as a truck driver, then you must not be a qualified truck driver. Because I
would think that maybe they had too many accidents, maybe they had too many speeding tickets, maybe they were job hopping too much to make them an unqualified driver. Sometimes there's extenuating circumstances. Taking too much time off. Companies don't like that either. You know, I see in one of the groups that I'm involved with on Facebook that they want a newbie coming out of driving school. She wants good pay. She wants to be home every 2 weeks. She wants lots of miles, and because she has a child at home. I really don't know if truck driving's for her, if you have a little one at home. I know my son is grown and gone is the only reason why I got back out here. It's a real tough life on a family and a relationship.
Yes, it is. It really is. Luckily, my kids are all old enough that I can be on the road. All my family understands it. I have a girlfriend that she understands that I'm on the road, and that is part of my job, and I will be on the road, but this is my livelihood.
Right. Correct. Now I'm going to mix up the rest of these questions a little bit because I want to go on to, as far as our veteran question, have you met a lot of retired or maybe just got out of the military veterans out on the road while you've been driving?
Actually, I have met a lot of veterans and a lot of retired veterans.
Okay, why do you think they got into trucking after they left the military?
Most of them, the reason they did is it was easy for them to get into trucking because they didn't have to really do much work or really have to do much of a job, or not job, but much of a much training to get them to get the job.
Okay. I'm wondering if maybe because it's I'm sorry.
It's pretty much a seamless transition for most veterans because we've done a lot of this stuff before, so we can do it without even having to do much training.
Okay.
I'm
wondering. I'm sorry. I'm wondering if maybe it's because, especially being deployed, and some of them could be so used to just being a loner. I know I'm a loner, and I've never been in the military, and you really have to like to drive in order to do this job. So I'm wondering if maybe that isn't some of the reasons.
That is part of some of the reasons, and it helps them out a lot. I mean, that helps out a lot, being a loner. But it also, you got to expect to have to deal with the general public, which most of the military does a lot, actually.
Okay. Now, have you read Have you read that U.S. Express article that was written about the company out of Chattanooga back in October of 2017?
Yes, I have, actually.
Okay, and what are your thoughts on that article?
Well, the first thing I thought on it is they said 450 to 500 miles per day. I do that. I do more than that in a day. Always.
Okay. What's your average in a day as far as miles?
My average in a day is approximately 600 miles a day. And
mine is too.
My truck is governed at 65 miles an hour.
Okay.
So I can get at least 600 miles a day without
All right.
any trouble. So that right there, that part of that article was, I think it was fabricated, or they don't know what they're talking about.
Or they got misinformation, maybe?
Maybe misinformation. As far as a few other things I really was wondering about was they have a 100% turnover rate, which if they are having a 100% turnover rate, that is not good.
I agree.
100% means that they have to have brand new drivers every year. And
that article does go on to say that they have to hire 7,000 drivers a year. They got 7,000 trucks. They have to hire 7,000 drivers a year.
Which is not a real good thing.
No, it's not. What are they doing wrong is my question. What are they doing wrong? Why can't they have a better retention rate?
Well, and, you know, I was sent an ad for them, to their hiring ad. And their hiring ad, if they really are doing what they are saying they're doing, they say a $10,000 bonus they give just to move to Indiana.
And they're not even out of Indiana. Their corporate office is out of Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay, there you go. And so,
why are we giving a $10,000 sign-on bonus to move to Indiana when the headquarters is based out of Chattanooga, Tennessee? I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't
That's
either.
why I have to chuckle. I think it's it's funny.
I don't either.
So, moving on. Have you found in your exploits out here on the road, have you found any good restaurants that you'd like to share, or you're just going to keep all the good ones to yourself?
I found a few. They're really hard to find good restaurants where you can get a truck too. One of them
go ahead.
One of them is there's a real good barbecue restaurant on Interstate I-70 in Illinois. I can't remember which town it is, but it's at exit 119. And it is a good barbecue, mom and pop barbecue restaurant. And it's right next door to the Love's travel stop.
Oh, truck stop? Okay, so that's I-70, exit 119. There's a good barbecue place next door to the Love's.
Yes.
In Illinois. Okay.
In Illinois.
I know of a good barbecue place in Tennessee that's on 40 at exit 87, and it happens to be called Exit 87 Barbecue. It's right across the street from the Love's. How coincidental.
Yeah. There is also I don't know if it's I would call it a taco trailer, is what I would call it.
Okay.
And it is on I-80, right across from a pilot. I can't remember exactly what exit it is, but I know it's around the 167, I believe it is, the pilot in that area, and it has some good Mexican food, burritos, tacos, and they're very big for their price.
So you get your money's worth.
So, oh yes, you definitely get your money's worth. I think, let me see, I got a burrito and a taco last time I was there. And turns out I could only eat the burrito and I had to give the taco, or basically I saved the taco for the next day because it was so big.
Cool. Now, there also is a TA on 80 in Illinois by the town of Morris, Illinois, that has a restaurant in it called Our Place. And it's not a Country Pride restaurant. It's a separate entity, and they have the best desserts, and they have a whole glass case bakery section. Not so much a buffet, and they have the best chicken pot pie. It's about as big as a soup bowl, a good-sized soup bowl, or a good-sized salad bowl. And it is really, really, really good. But that's on I-80 at the TA in Morris, Illinois. I also know of one down in Hammond, Louisiana. If you go down that way and want some good old Cajun Creole cooking. And it's at Hammond, like I said, Hammond, Louisiana, exit 40 on Interstate 12, at the exit driveway of the Petro. And it's capital K-Gens, spoof on Cajuns restaurant. And they have poor boys, they have seafood buffets, they have gumbo, oysters, boiled seafood. So it is boiled shrimp, boiled crawfish in season. They'll be selling it by the sack. So a couple of little plugs for our favorite restaurants. You could always leave a comment if you want your restaurant added into our little directory. It can always be updated of good restaurants to eat out here.
And
so do you have any trucking wars? I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you. My bad.
I do have. I like trying new places also out here.
Right.
Because you never know what the place is, and it may seem like the biggest dump and turn out to be one of the best places to eat. So. Oh,
the best places are the hideaway ones. They're well away.
Yep. You never know what you're going to get.
So do you have any trucking war stories that you would like to share? And we're not going to talk about the one that happened to me recently.
Actually, I have. There's a couple times that I went. Matter of fact, I was out in Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon. And I had to blindside back into a dock, which, if any driver knows, that is the worst way to back into a dock as you can get. I didn't have a choice on the matter, and when I backed in, I took off my driver's side trailer door. So that was not fun. But luckily the company they understood and they didn't have any problem with it. So I was good. I was good on that, and they didn't hit me too hard. But it wasn't the first time it happened to anyone. It was a normal thing at that location.
Yeah, it was real tight back, blindside back, correct? From what you told me.
Yes, it was a tight blindside back that a newbie driver, a rookie driver, should never try to back that, to even do that backup.
Maneuver, yeah, okay.
Sorry about that.
So I have one. That's fine. I have one. A story that happened to me. Even being out here 30 years like I was, the one and only time that I ever really hurt anything was that I went ahead and came up an exit ramp off of exit 163 on 40.
I think it's that one.
And you could go ahead and when you get off, the road comes around to the right. But you have to turn to the left. You have to creep out to see if they're going to, if any traffic is coming from the right. And by the time you creep out and spin it to the left, I hooked the guardrail. And I took half the guardrail off, and along with the front corner of the truck, because, like I said, it's a 2-lane road. You're creeping out, looking to your right. By the time you spin the truck to the left, there's the guardrail staring you in the face.
Yep.
So that wasn't a real good feeling either.
I mean, it didn't feel good. I've learned to accept my mistakes, and everybody out here, we're going to make mistakes, and it's just how big of a mistake you make. So that's all.
Well, and I read in that group as well, where the newbies from school, they're only out here a week, and they have a bad week, and they right away want to quit trucking. And we have a couple other members of the group kind of pounce on them a little bit, I would say, kind of give them a reply going, what, you're going to quit your job just because you have a bad week? Well, it gets overwhelming out here. You have all this stuff you have to remember, and it really gets overwhelming. So you have to breathe. You have to just say, hey, it's a bad day, or it's a bad week, and next week will be better. And just learn from your mistakes. And if you really want to do this job, you got to keep rolling at it, I find. And at the same time, I turn around and you have to almost be like a mailman out here. The load has to get there. It doesn't have to get there if it's going to jeopardize your safety, but it does have to get there, like the post office. Come rain or shine, sleet or hail, you have to make up your mind that you're going to truck, and you have to get there. There again, not that it's going to jeopardize your safety, of course. At the same time, you can also, park if it's too bad. The snow gets too bad. There's a lot of ice on the road and everything. I don't understand a lot of these people that, I can't drive at night. Driving a truck is a 24-hour job. You've got to drive just like swing shift. You never know if you're going to be driving at night, during the day, early mornings. It could be any time. It depends upon when the load gets there. I've been up since 9 o'clock last night. I had my first stop 7 o'clock this morning. I made it. Had a second stop at 10. I'm out of hours. I'm done for the day until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. But I had to drive it all night to get over here to make my deliveries on time. It's you got to do what you have to do out here. You can't, oh, it's dark out, I got to pull it over. You can't do that. The load's got to get there.
Like today, I have been up since 4 o'clock this morning I went through Boston, and I was late because of traffic and a few other things. And you just have to learn. Sometimes you're up all night, or you're up and you just got to realize that you're going to drive when you have to drive. You can't drive when you want to all the time.
Exactly right. So in closing, we've pretty much covered all of our topics. Do you have anything else that you would like to add?
Yeah, I would. Especially for you new drivers, the rookie drivers, the people that are just getting into the industry. There's a couple ways to save money out here for you. One way, if you use tobacco, not saying you should, not saying you shouldn't, but some people out here on the road, they do smoke, they do dip, whatever. If you go through Missouri, get your tobacco in Missouri. It's cheaper than anywhere else in the country.
Okay, what about rolling your own?
Well, even rolling your own, it's still cheaper to get all the supplies in Missouri than it is to buy it in any other state in the United States. That's if you get through Missouri. Try to stock up when you go through Missouri, and that will make it a little cheaper on you out on the road. Another thing is we all have get trash in our truck. And there's no way around that. Some people will go out and buy trash bags and spend all this money on trash bags. Instead of doing that, every truck stop you go to and you buy something, you get a plastic bag. They ask you, do you want a plastic bag? Those make great trash bags.
Walmart bags.
The Walmart bags, the truck stop bags, they make great trash bags. And most of them will fit, once you fill them, it'll fit inside the trash cans at all the truck stops.
Right.
So, and that's just a couple of things that can save you money. Another thing is learning about cooking in your truck. I do remember that you are going to have an episode about cooking in the truck.
But give it from a guy's. That's right. I will in the future. But give it from a guy's point of view. What's some of your favorite recipes as a guy, and what are some of your appliances that you have with you in your truck?
Some of the things I have a electric skillet, a microwave. I have a pot for boiling, and a thing for making hot water. It helps me out. Anything I want to make, I can make with what I got in my truck. If I want a steak, I can fry a steak up. If I want noodles, I can boil noodles. If I want whatever vegetables I want, I can microwave. It depends on the week on what I have, but I can make pretty much anything in my truck that can be made in the house on a stove.
So now the next time that you're going to have Tracy running with you, you're going to make her a 7-course meal, right?
I already have. Every time that she's with me, I make a 7-course meal.
You know I had to jab you about that. Now, speaking from a woman's point of view, I have that little electric hot plate almost that looks like the old electric coily you would have on an electric stove. I find that's better to take in a truck with you than the old Burton butane stove that they sell at the TAs, because a friend of mine is going, you can't carry butane in your truck, that's flammable. Well, you don't keep it in your truck when it's shut off in the summertime. You gotta take it out of your truck because it is known to go poof, meaning explode.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have your truck shut off, you need to take that kind of stuff out of your truck.
And I personally don't think it should be in the truck. They should put them in the truck, period, is my opinion, because of just that reason. They can explode. It's better to find something that is not flammable, in my opinion. That way you don't have, if you forget about it, the worst thing that could happen is it melt. If it's any bit of plastic, the plastic melts. You got to buy a new one. You don't have to worry about any explosions.
Right. Or sawing your eye, or singeing your eyebrows off, or anything like that, and then you have to go to your boss going, okay, Julia, what happened to my truck? It melted. I'm like,
exactly.
Oops. Well, that's gonna come. That's gonna be a long time coming out of your paycheck.
Yes, it will.
So, any other tips for the newbies?
Be courteous and don't expect to be a millionaire overnight.
Good
point.
Good point.
You're not gonna, your first 2 to 2 years, you're not going to make a lot of money in this industry. But the money is good in this industry once you get past the first couple of years.
Well, you have to have experience, and with your experience is your pay rate goes up just like any other job. You have to start somewhere. So
right.
I appreciate you, Bryan. I appreciate you taking the time today to join us and give us your perspective on driving and cooking and being military. I want to thank you for your service as a former Marine and the veterans out here. Hoorah! I may not be saying it right. But so until next week, when we go ahead and I want everybody to stay safe and keep the shiny side up. And we will see you next week.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. We've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. Our exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days. Then, if rates go up, your rate stays locked. But if rates go down, your rate drops. Either way, you win. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
Get excited, America, because Dunkin' Go-Tos are here. Double deals on breakfast sandwiches, made for go-getters. Why 2 breakfast sandwiches? Well, maybe a coworker eats one when you're not looking. Or maybe an eagle swoops down and steals one. Or maybe you're just double hungry. Whatever the reason, come into Dunkin' Donuts now and get 2 egg and cheese wake-up wraps for $2, 2 egg and cheese English muffins for $3, or 2 bacon, egg, and cheese croissants for $5. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply.